Welcome to using private VLAN with Telabs Optical LAN. The purpose of this video is to explain the private VLANs and how they can be implemented on the Telabs Optical LAN product. The topics covered in this video will be an overview of private VLANs and how they are used, and a step-by-step process for implementing private VLANs on the Telabs Optical LAN system. Private VLAN, also known as port isolation, is a technique where switch ports are restricted such that they can only communicate with a given uplink. Private VLAN is utilized for several purposes. First, it prevents any Layer 2 spoofing attack. Layer 2 spoofing attacks often attempt to learn the MAC address of a user and then impersonate them on the network. Also, it prevents any direct communication between ports. This is often done as a security measure to prevent leakage of any information between users of the network. This can be done for privacy concerns or security compartmentalization. A typical application for private VLAN is a hotel network where each room has a port for internet access. Guests can all be assigned to the same VLAN, but the private VLAN application prevents them from snooping on other guests or other nefarious activities. There are two primary concepts to understand when using private VLAN. The first is the promiscuous port. The promiscuous port is a port that is allowed to communicate with any port on the switch. Typically, these are the uplink ports on the switch. The private ports, or what is sometimes called the isolated port, can only communicate to the promiscuous ports and are prevented from communicating with other private ports. These are typically access ports. In the Telab system, uniports on the ONTs are always considered to be private ports when private VLAN is enabled. The uplink is always considered to be a promiscuous port. Private VLAN is a bridge type that is assigned to the VLAN within the VLAN properties table. Once private VLAN is configured on a VLAN as a bridge type, then user isolation will be enforced on that VLAN. Private VLAN does support all other features of VLAN such as NAC, ACLs, 802.1x, and MAC authentication bypass. To configure private VLANs in Panorama Software Release 30 and above, select the Switching application and the VLAN Properties tab. Enable private VLAN on the desired VLAN and click Apply. This is the only configuration required as the PON ports will be defaulted to private for that VLAN and the uplink ports are already defaulted to promiscuous. In this video, we have discussed an overview of private VLANs and how they are used, and a step-by-step procedure for implementing private VLANs on the Telabs Optical LAN system.